Good morning. First, let me apologize for my tardiness. Um, I've been doing a lot this morning, but I apologize for not being on here a little earlier today. Um, I thought I had a topic. I did. I really did. But there's been some things happening that I feel like I need to speak on. so, um, so we'll see where this goes. And like I said, it's a soft rant. It's not an anger, it's a gentle shaking. How about that? All right. So in case you don't know who I am, good morning. Oh, let me get my mic over this way. How about that? Let me get my mic over this way. In case you don't know who I am, good morning. My name is Debbie Maisha, and I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist, and I am a master life coach, a teacher of sacred sexuality, and the owner of Sensual Energy Alchemy LLC, which reconnects Black women to their freedom, their power, and their sovereignty through their sensuality and their pleasure. Good morning. And we have been working through the Abundance book by John Randolph Price. Today we are on day 29. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Instagram. So I'm going to read statement 9. And then, like I said, it's a soft rant. Okay. So I'm not mad at anybody, but we need to talk about some things. All right. Day 29, statement 9. We've got like 11 days left of this. Will me going live like this every day. If you are on day 8 or anything like that and you're in the Facebook group, we're still gonna, I'll still be in there supporting you. And real quick, shout out to the folks in the Facebook group. I know this is a journey. And along this journey, there are going to be people who drop off. There are going to be people who it's 40 days. It's challenging for us to do something for 40 days straight. And I see some of you in there starting over and then starting over again, but you're still going forward. I see those of you in there who are like, nope, I'm on this, and you're in the journey full on. That takes a lot. It does. And I want you to give yourself like a hand clap or some snaps or, for you being so devoted to this process for yourself. And if you have dropped off, it just might mean now's not the time. I don't believe in us doing, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute because I was thinking about that yesterday. All right, let me read statement 9 and then get into what I need to say this morning. When I am aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. I'm going to read it one more time, but I'm going to read it a little different, different strokes for different folks. When I am aware of the goddess self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. So while I know that this journey, I've invited, usually I work with women, and for this journey, I'm like, yeah, men come along. But today I need to kind of talk to the women specifically. I've had the beautiful opportunity, especially over the past week, to just notice how women interact with the world. Not all women, right? Just the women that I've noticed interact with the world. And what we often do is we'll extrapolate, right? We'll see 3 people doing something and we'll say all women or all men. I do my best not to do that. And I also have recognized that in the journey of my life, there are some behaviors that I've generally seen in quite a few women. And this is really the sense of us being apologetic for our existence. Probably thought I was gonna say something else like I was mad at y'all. It is this feeling of being apologetic for our existence. I don't often say I'm sorry anymore, not because I don't apologize to people. I do. When I am wrong, I admit to my wrongdoing for sure. Um, I've heard a lot of women just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, I should have done this or that. A lot of self-checking of all kinds of behaviors, this need for us to show up in the world in a way that everyone likes us, this need to want to smooth everything over so there's no conflict, this way that we're stuffing ourselves down and constantly making sure everyone else around us is okay except for us. And then feeling tired and worn out and drained and resentful and bitter, or tired and worn out and falling into martyrdom. It's all right, it's okay. No, it's fine. Like this is what I do. This is what I do. I take care of everybody. This is what I do. What's often underneath martyrdom is this idea that if I do and do and do and do and show up and give, I will be worthy of being loved. I will be worthy. Good morning. If I keep pouring into others, then I'll be good enough to get some back. Then they'll see and they'll give it back to me. The bitterness and the resentment is the righteous anger of doing all of these things, but I want to be like, just stop doing them. Who is asking you to handle everybody's business? Where are your boundaries? And look, let me tell you that I'm not saying this from a space of somebody who doesn't understand this. I had no boundaries. None. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what that meant. It felt I didn't want to be mean. I didn't want to be not liked. It doesn't feel good when people don't like you. And so anybody could do almost anything and it was okay because when I was very little, my mother told me to turn the other cheek. And she told me to put yourself in other people's shoes. And I am grateful for that understanding of empathy because that's really what she was trying to teach. But because of her, the way she grew up and her experiences, she wasn't able to give me the other side of that, which is put yourself in other people's shoes to see how they feel. And also make sure your feet are always planted in yours so that you're clear on how you feel. I didn't get that part. And so, for instance, and I'm gonna get back to y'all in a minute. And so, for instance, good morning. 35 years in that trap. So, for instance, when I was, how old were we? We were in summer camp. I had to have been about 9, and my sister was 6 or something like that, I'm guessing. And my parents had given us some money. We were going to the camp's going to Coney Island. And it's amusement park in New York City. If you don't know, you know the Wonder Wheel. Y'all have seen pictures of Coney Island, like the Cyclone roller coaster. So we're going to Coney Island. My parents had given us some money, not a lot, but it might have been like $10, which in 1980 something, I'm sure that took us quite a ways. Um, and I remember there was this one kid there that didn't have, and so I gave them some, and then some other kids came, like maybe 2 or 3 more, and they said they didn't have any, and so I gave them some, and by the time I was finished, it was enough for me and my sister to maybe get on 3 rides or something, and I remember my sister was a fighter. She was the fighter between the 2 of us. I was the soft, meek, quiet, good girl who did absolutely everything that her parents wanted her to do so that she would be loved. My sister was not that. And by this time, she was the middle child, so, middle child syndrome had kicked in. She's like, "What?" I remember her standing there like, "Why did you do that?" And I didn't even have an answer for her, it's just that they needed. She's like, "Yeah, but now we can't, like, enjoy ourselves," in six-year-old speak. And I always remember that as a reminder of how I was raised and how I was for a long time in some of my relationships. Romantic. I would there were no I was not gonna there were no what would happen is you could do all the things, all the things, all the things, and then I would explode. Right? So that's not healthy. In my friendships, I didn't like conflict, so I would just avoid it. Like I'm not gonna really say how I feel. I'm gonna just kind of dip away over here. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have an argument. I don't I don't want us to not like each other. Physically, the sensations would be stomach would be in knots. That's the power center. Stomach in knots, like my asshole would clench up. That's the root chakra. That's fear. These things happen when the body feels like it's in danger. How you feel when you're in danger? That's how I would feel. I see this in a lot of women. Not all women, but far too many that makes me feel comfortable. We still have this fear, and I understand why. Sis, I'm not judging. I'm pointing some things out. We still have this way of wanting to show up in the world and in spaces with people that diminish the truth of who we are, that squelch, is that a word? That squash our power. We don't want to show up as too powerful. It's dangerous to do so. There are consequences to that. And I really want us to work through those pieces. Because if you're looking for abundance and whatever that is, it's going to require you to show up in all of your abundant power and energy. You will not be able to create abundance from a space of fear. And if you're afraid of not being liked, if you're afraid of not being loved, it's going to be really difficult to create that expansion. This doesn't, there's this idea that like we need all to be peaceful in order for this to happen. All will not be peaceful. Okay? All will not be good. Okay? This is the importance of us cultivating these different portions of ourselves, we have to have a little bit of a warrior spirit, and we can do that without being like assholes about it, you know? But we need to cultivate a little of that because we need to be able to say no. We need to be able to speak. We need to be able to explain when necessary, not every single time. I've been around some women lately who they're telling me something, and then they're really, it's, you would think that they just got in trouble with the teacher. And well, because of this and that and the other thing, and I'm like, I don't need you to over explain yourself. Like if I have a question, let me ask the question. It's preemptive. We're so used to being on the witness stand and being on the defense that it's preemptive, that we're ready. And I know it. Listen, I would have a whole spiel laid out in my mind. I had thought about it in advance. All of what I was going to say. I would have a script. I kid you not. There's a script ready in my mind of all the things that I'm going to say just in case so I don't get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. I've had to say to far too many times lately, I trust you know what you're doing. I trust you got this. I'm putting this responsibility in your hands because I know you can handle this. I we don't trust ourselves. How could we possibly really be trusting some divine, omnipresent substance of the universe? We don't trust ourselves. We've been taught that we are wrong from the get-go. I don't know if I hear one more story about how women were treated in the church. I don't, my mind. You're wrong. Your body is wrong. The things that you do are wrong. If something happens to you, it's your fault because you were wrong. You can't trust which way to go. And so now you're in a position where you're constantly trying to ask somebody else for directions because you can't possibly be right because everyone's told you how wrong you are. Your period is wrong. The childbirth pains are wrong. Just being a woman is wrong. You lead men down a path. You make them stray with all of your antics and your wild ways. You're shameful. You're sinful. You're just wrong. Ugh. And it's just like, if you only knew that those things are told to you, because there's a lack of understanding of how powerful you actually are. You are the doorway between the spiritual and the physical realm. Whether your womb has given birth or not, energetically, you are the doorway between the spiritual and the physical realm. I really need y'all to take that in and understand what that means in terms of your place on this planet. The only way new life gets to this space is through you. Don't take that for granted. And there's nothing about that process from the beginning conception of it to the end creation of it that is sinful, shameful, wicked, or bad, barring non-consensual activity. If you're looking to really honor the abundant life that you've been given, please stop apologizing all the time. When you make a mistake, by all means, own up to it. And yes, make amends And if that means an I'm sorry, I apologize, throw that in there. Absolutely, and mean it. But this constant checking, checking of, have I fit into the box today? I don't want to be offensive. I mean, look, in this world, you can offend almost anybody at this stage. Anyone can be offended. Anyone. I wouldn't even begin to try to tell people to live in a way that doesn't offend someone. I don't even know if that's possible in 2024. Like I said, it's a soft rant. Yes, over apologize. It's all your fault. I was watching the show, I'm late to the game with it. Newsroom. It's interesting. And it's 3 seasons, but I can imagine there's this character on there, this young girl, and the dude she's dating, he's not a bad guy. Like I don't see things in terms of good or bad. It's pain, it's maybe possibly trauma, it's people not understanding who they are, and our behavior reflects the lack of power we may feel. But I don't see things in terms of like, oh, he was a bad guy or she was bad girl, whatever. I don't really do all that. But so in this show, there's this one couple. She's young, she's getting started out, and she thinks she loves this guy. He's got a little bit more power there. You can tell he's not really really into her, but she's convenient. It works for him. Right? I mean, he's getting what he wants out of it, but she really wants something more from him. You can tell that he's not capable of giving. And then there's this other guy at the office that she's really feels, and you could tell that he cares about her. Like he cares about her. In this one scene, she's having a panic attack, and the guy she's seeing, guy A, you know, is doesn't go with her, and guy B, who's like the gentle guy, he's like, "Is she okay?" And he's just like, "Yeah, she's having a panic attack." So guy B, goes up to see how she's doing and talks her through everything and all of that stuff. But she still, of course, goes for guy A because ladies, that's how we do, right? I can only imagine if the show had stayed on for more than 3 seasons, and I'm interested because I'm in season 1 to see how her character develops. I can only imagine that as she gets a little older and wiser and feels more into her body, that she starts to say to herself, man, that's some fuck shit right there. I deserve more. Because what I'm seeing in season 1 is her saying, "We break up." One of her lines is to the nice guy, if you will. "We break up and I apologize and everything's back to normal." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds familiar for a lot of women." And again, it really isn't about the men. It's about us. It's about our lack of boundaries. It's about our thinking that, well, this will do. It's about our settling. It's about our being taught that we should just be grateful for, whatever it is that we get. Don't ask for too much. You're boastful, you're arrogant, you're conceited, you're selfish, don't do all of that. Okay? Just be all right here, and it will all be okay. And I don't just want to throw that book out the window. It needs to be burned. Don't even bury it because someone might find it. Just burn it. If you are reading this, it is not going to be just about trusting the higher power. It is also going to be about you learning to trust you learning to believe you. And for some of us who have been through some things and tried to tell people, and it was like, that's not what you thought it was. Mm-mm. Why are you making a big deal out of that? Don't tell anybody about that. Well, what did you do? Well, that wouldn't have happened if we learn not to trust ourselves because we must be wrong. And I'm going to tell you right now that if you've ever heard those words as a girl child, you heard them from someone who did not have the capability to honor what you were going through. And they also felt powerless in themselves. And what you were going through was a reminder to them of that, and they could not deal with that. And so the best way to deal with it is to, but it did not mean that you didn't know what you knew to be true. And that those things lay the seed for us to grow into women who allow any kind of treatment, who try to stuff ourselves in corporate boxes to fit in, to belong. We deny ourselves. We force ourselves to diet, to eat certain ways. We weigh ourselves constantly to make sure that we're fitting into someone's ideal standard of beauty. We're constantly on the go, so we don't have time to stop and be, because as soon as we stop, all the things start coming up and we don't want that. So we got to keep going to keep it down. We complain about not having great sex and don't tell our partners what we desire or want. Well, they're supposed to know. How? Is your body the same as the last woman's? How's he supposed to know? He didn't come with a magic book that explains you. And most men don't know anyway because they're not taught either. So just don't. Then just like you're not taught, they're not taught. And in many ways, we have not been raised to take full responsibility and ownership for our life. And so we kind of half wait for someone else to tell us what to do, or we try to bulldoze our way through. Neither extreme being the healthy ones. Zuli, you're welcome. We are told a lot of things that are just not true. They're just not true. But as a child, we don't know any different. I mean, why would this person lie to you? Of course, it has to be you that. Why would they lie? They must know better. And then we carry that with us. And so I'm here to tell you, no, they lied. And we're not labeling them, and we don't need to do any of that. They were operating from wherever they could operate from. I want you to understand how powerful you are. When I come across women who feel like they are less than, I will not meet you at that level. I will not. I hear you. I nodded my head. I hear you, but I'm not coming here. First of all, I can't do it. Okay, because I've lived there. Ain't nobody dragging me back. That's number one. Number two, I want you to see yourself here. So I can hear you on that level, and I'm going to talk to you somewhere in the middle so that you can see you clearly. I hope all of this makes sense. It's just, having these conversations and seeing women in positions where they are not. It's not about happy, because it's no one's job to make you happy. It is not your partner's job, your spouse's job, your friend's job. It is no one's job to make you happy but you. Happy is an external thing. It's not their responsibility. But I am seeing women who are in these situations, whether it be employment or relationships or just the duties that they've taken on. Like we are the only ones who can do it. And it's just really breaking us down. And we are so powerful. We are so expansive. We are the dance between the wind and the rain and the ocean and trees. We are the unpredictable chaos that creates life. We have our own tune that is in harmony, even if it sounds like there's discord to it. Hey, that's who we are as women. We ebb and we flow. We are cyclical in nature. Men have their own cycles too, by the way, but we are cyclical in nature. We create, we destroy, and we do it all over again. And because we have not had an understanding of our power, men also wouldn't have an understanding of our power. They cannot explain the inexplicable. And we are not to be figured out. He is on the surfboard, and we are that 60-foot wave, and he's just going to have to ride it out. But we do not make our waves smaller to make it easier to surf. We don't do that. So I'm going to read statement 9 again. This is how I was feeling this morning, because I love women. Y'all are amazing. The things that we do, the things that we go through, it's not for us to just say, yeah, no. You pat yourself on the back. When I am aware of the God self within me as my total fulfillment, I am totally fulfilled. I am now aware of this truth. I have found the secret of life, and I relax in the knowledge that the activity of divine abundance is eternally operating in my life. I simply have to be aware of the flow, the radiation of that creative energy, which is continuously, easily, and effortlessly pouring forth from my divine consciousness. I am now aware. I am now in the flow. All right, that's day 29. I don't have a prompt for you today. Just go journal what came up for you with anything that I said. That's it. All right. I love you. I do. As spirits, as humans, as pieces of divinity. I'll see you tomorrow for day 30. Day 30! All right, y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye.